If I may just compare Sub-Saharan Africa with the global scale in terms of energy consumption, you realize that the world as we speak today has over 1.3 billion people who do not have access to electricity. And out of these 1.3 billion people, 641 of them are in Sub-Saharan Africa. In the developed countries like the UK, Denmark, the US, the energy per capita, which is average amount of energy consumed by a single individual, is 7,000. If you compare that with Africa, in general, is 600. If you remove North Africa and South Africa, the remaining Sub-Saharan Africa is 162 kilowatt hour. That implies that someone living in a country like Tanzania will take 8 years to consume what someone living in North America will consume in a single month. Living in rural countryside in Africa, it means you use kerosene tin lamps for your studies and lighting up your homestead. It also means that you use firewood for cooking. And using firewood for cooking, it means you are subjected to the risk of getting respiratory ailments that come from burning biomass. And most of the household, even kerosene, which we know is expensive, cannot afford cannot afford it consistently. And as a result, you find there are days in which children cannot be able to do assignment on time. Like using my own personal experience, I attended a rural day school in which most of the time I was either the last student in class to submit assignment or I did not do it at all. And I was often canned, and not because I was a dumb kid, but because at home there is no light to enhance me to do my assignment. Poor access to electricity, or lack of access to electricity for that matter, implies poor quality of education. It implies poor healthcare system. It implies general poor quality of life. Even economically, the profile of the people cannot be improved, because when you talk about business, or rather economic activities of the people, it is closely linked with access to energy. We are trying to go on the demand side by promoting the uptake of renewable energy systems as an option to promote and hasten access to electricity. That is what essentially Disa Energy Management, the company in which I'm the founder and the managing director, does. While the government is doing its part in promoting access to electricity, I feel that there is much that still ought to be done, and this can only be achieved when there is large-scale participation of everyone, and that is making us a good energy policy that promotes private sector participation, so that by 2030 we have each and every Kenyan having full access to electricity. That is my vision. Using an example of some of the countries in Africa which have got very interesting case studies, look at a country like Morocco, look at a country like Tunisia, look at a country like Libya, a country like Niger, like Egypt. Of the countries I've mentioned, it's only Egypt that have got 99% access to electricity. The rest have 100% access to electricity, North African countries. South Africa have got 85% access to electricity. When you compare those countries, North Africa and South Africa, with the deeper countries in the region, you see a very disturbing comparison. And my vision is that in 2030, because in Kenya we have a vision 2030 which envisions Kenya to become a middle and upper middle income earning economy. And such an economy can only make sense if we have every Kenyan having an access to electricity. I'll do my part.